In this video, you can really see how having front and rear lockers, front and rear solid axles, and airing down your tires can really help getting through a situation like this. Notice how the axles flex and I keep all four of my wheels on the ground. All four tires are turning at an even speed, so I don't have to use a lot of throttle. I can just let the tires do the work. In situations like right here, a lot of vehicles would be spinning one front tire and one rear tire, and you would either need to use momentum to try to bounce through, or you would just spin and tear up the tires and possibly make the situation worse. This section of the trail wasn't too bad because there was a lot of loose rocks and they provided some traction. There was a lot of greasy mud, but there was frost underneath, so the bottom was firm. Having lockers is actually easier on the drivetrain in many cases than not having them. It allows you to crawl over things at a slower speed and use less throttle and just let the tires do the work. Without lockers, you often have to use momentum to try to bounce over things, or use a lot of throttle and a lot of wheel spin to try to claw your way over something. This is when things like U-joints, drive shafts, and axle shafts get broken. If you're wide open throttle and your tires start to catch traction, that's a lot of strain on things. Axle hop is another common way to break drive shafts and U-joints. They just aren't designed for the sudden abrupt strain on them. And if you can move at a slower pace, you're a lot less likely to twist up a drive shaft. On the flip side, lockers can sometimes cause more stress, but it's more to do with how you use the vehicle at that point. If you're forcing a tire to climb a sheer rock ledge, for example, you're putting a lot more strain on that U-joint than you probably would be able to without a locker, but that's just how it's being used. Here's where it started to get interesting. There wasn't any more small rocks around on the trail, and the sun had been hitting this all day, so it was a little softer and muddier. It still had a firm base, so it wasn't like I was going to get stuck, but I just couldn't make any forward progress. Here's where you can really see the difference the front locker makes. Notice how I'm able to turn and the vehicle will follow where I point my front wheels, even though the grade isn't allowing me to climb. I'm still able to control the vehicle as I move back and forth looking for traction. A lot of times with an open front differential, one front tire will stop and the vehicle will just want to pivot around that stopped front tire. It's a lot harder to pick where you want to go, and it's a lot easier to get sucked into ruts. So at this point, my rear tire goes into a little bit of a hole and I'm not able to climb up and out of it. I sawed my front tires back and forth a little bit to see if there was some more traction to be had there, but there wasn't. So I decided to back up, get another try at it, but that hole was just a little too deep.
Might be the worst part yet.
Yeah?
At this point, I decided to get another angle on it, so I decided to turn out, pull over to the side here where there's a little bit of grass, see if I could get straightened out. Again, notice how easy I'm able to control the vehicle. I can steer, I can turn it whichever way I want. Even though I'm struggling to get up, I'm still able to turn the vehicle and move it wherever I want. This is really helpful when you're trying to find a line that'll actually work in something like this. I start to get a little traction here, so I give it a little more throttle to get some momentum. And that's all it takes to get